Can I give you a case story?
Yeah,
right,
please.
right. This is a very typical patient of mine, but this is it was a guy in his 50s. I think it's a 52-year-old guy, right? He's got type 2 diabetes. Now he's a successful businessman. He's go, go, go all the time, right? He's, working hard, working weekends. He's always on his email, right? And he got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. So he saw on TV in the UK, he saw my BBC show, the first series, and he saw what I did with that type 2 diabetic patient. So he drastically reduced the refined and processed carbs in his diet. Okay, and then he'd read some other blogs, and he really got obsessed with low carb. And he was getting some changes, right? His blood sugar was coming down, but then it plateaued. And he was getting frustrated because he kept reading more and more blogs. He kept lowering his carb intake, and he just wasn't getting anywhere. So he ends up on my waiting list. He comes in to see me. And I remember going through everything with him, and I thought to myself, this is not a dietary issue anymore, right? Because he didn't realize, like many people don't, that your stress levels contribute to your blood sugar levels. Your sleep quality contributes to your blood sugar levels. It's not just your diet. Even though diet is something we get it. We eat a bit of sugar, that's going to put the sugar up in our blood. We get that. But we don't get, right, and there's some really good studies on this, that if you only sleep 4 to 5 hours a night for 6 nights, okay, you are 40% less good at managing your blood sugar, right?
Wow.
You become pre-diabetic after 5 to 6 days.
Just from the lack of sleep.
Just from a lack of sleep. It's incredible. When you start understanding that, you think, well, of course we need a more balanced, holistic approach to helping these people. So this chap, so what I did with him, I said, look, your diet is brill, okay? Arguably, it's too good. Arguably, you're trying too hard now and it's stressing you out. I said, it's sleep and stress for you. So I talk about these 4 pillars, all right? I talk about food, movement, sleep, and relaxation. That it's not about perfection in any one pillar, but it's about balance across all 4. This approach takes the pressure off people. It's not about the perfect diet or the perfect gym routine. It's about making sure your diet is good enough, making sure you're moving enough, making sure you're doing something for your sleep and something for your stress levels. It's an approach that works in the short term, but it's also going to be working 6 months down the line, 12 months down the line. So this chap with type 2 diabetes, we came up with a system. I said, look, ideally, you'd have a 90-minute switch off before bed where you don't look at work emails, you don't go on your computer. He goes, I can't do that, 90 minutes, no way. I said, all right, what about 30 minutes? So he goes, okay. So we started with 30 minutes, okay? We agreed in the consultation, I spoke to him about meditation. And again, he was a bit skeptical on meditation. I said, okay, look, hear me out here. I tell you what, let's get an app, right? So we downloaded an app in the clinic, right? I said, okay, this is free. Download this. All I want you to do is commit to 5 minutes a day. That's it, okay? So all we agreed on was 30 minutes before bed, he'd switch off his computer and his tech and his work emails, and he'd do 5 minutes meditation per day with his app. Okay, that was it. And he starts off, he comes back in 4 weeks, and he's like, okay, I'm already starting to feel better. He's sleeping better. He feels less anxious and stressed the whole time. So that was my way in. Then we got to increase it. So it was an hour in the evening, okay? It was, he only stuck to 5 minutes meditation, but we then introduced something that I call the 3-4-5 breath. When you breathe in for 3, you hold for 4 and breathe out for 5. And he did that a few times throughout the week. And bit by bit, he started to introduce these practices. He increased his carb intake, because I said, you're being too aggressive. You don't need to be that aggressive with your carbs. Okay, 6 months later, the guy's blood sugar is no longer in the type 2 diabetic range. Wow. Okay, so he puts his carbs up, he improves his sleep, he gets the stress levels down, and his blood sugar starts to come down. And that's why I'm so passionate, Tom, that when we take this rounded 360-degree approach to health, not only does it yield fantastic results, okay, but it feels more accessible, it feels more achievable for people.